Alexa, why do women cheat?
I have cheated on 2 husbands and I don't know why. My second husband was a brilliant man and didn't deserve any of it. I broke his heart, and never again will I ever get the love and loyalty I had from him. I just think I have my very own wrecking ball and destroy things by myself. When I lost him, I lost my best friend. I don't have an answer to why, because I have been asking myself for 6 years as to why. I did it twice. You would have thought I would have learnt from the devastation it caused with my first marriage. Sometimes, I just think it's built into us.
This story starts in 2015 when my wife, Maria, and I were both 44 and 45. Until this point, we were both happily married for 18 years with 2 amazing sons. We were both very much in love, at least I thought. Our sex life wasn't brilliant, but we had other ways of showing affection. We had also never ever had any rough periods in our marriage at all. I'm self-employed as a plumber, and I've been doing this business since around 2010, and at that time, Maria was a pharmacist. And we were both going strong in our careers and were both earning a decent amount. One night when our sons were in bed, me and Maria were downstairs, and we decided to watch a film together on Netflix. We started watching this film about a poor girl who had been in poverty her whole life, and then joined an escort agency. This girl mentioned in the film how she was earning around $1,000 per client. When the girl said this, Maria's response was, "There's me spending hours a day in a pharmacy, earning the same amount a year as she does in a month." When she said this, I didn't think anything of it and just replied with, "Yeah." After that, we enjoyed the film, and once it ended, we went to sleep. After that evening, our life was completely normal until about 1 month later. It was just another usual work day, and I came home at around 3 p.m. after finishing a job I had and picking up the kids from school, who were both 7, and at around 5 p.m. I got a text from Maria saying that she was going for a drink with her friend after work for a while to catch up, which I said was fine. I fed the kids and put them to sleep. I was just watching football on television and hadn't even realized the time when my wife came home at around 8 p.m. I presumed she must have just been having a good time with her friend, so I didn't question her about anything apart from asking her how it went. Straight after that, she went up and had a shower, which was strange as ever. Since we met, she has always been a morning shower person. I didn't think anything of this. Later on, we both went to sleep as usual. Fast forward to the weekend, Maria said she was going out to the town centre for shopping as she hadn't been in ages. I offered to drop her off, but she politely said she would take her car. She went while I stayed home and did household jobs. Maria had been gone for 4 hours, and I hadn't heard from her, so I rang her up to see when she was going to be back, but she didn't answer. I texted her asking when she was back. She didn't read it, so I then waited roughly half an hour and rang her again, and she didn't pick up. At this point, I started to get a bit worried. I tried ringing her again and again for around 45 minutes, but she didn't pick up. Then eventually, after being out for a total of 7 hours, she rang me up and said she was really sorry that she hadn't answered. She claimed that her phone was out of power and had to find and sit somewhere for it to charge. I believed her and forgave her, and when she came home we hugged and we said the usual, "I love you" to each other. Maria then went to the shower. At this point, I still hadn't suspected a single thing. I suspected nothing of her for a whole 3 months after that, and life then went on. During these 3 months, there were a few occasions when she would meet up with a friend, and I just let her go. Then there were also a few times when she would work late, and she would say she was at the pharmacy till the shop closed or something like that, and I would believe her. She also started working a lot more frequently on Sundays. She did this sometimes anyway, but in this period, she was doing it a lot more than usual. I also continued working like normal throughout this time. Then one Friday, Maria came home from the pharmacy and said that she had been invited to spend the night at her friend's house. I thought this was a little weird, as this friend she was staying at usually met with Maria a lot of the time anyway, so I wondered why Maria wanted to stay over at her house all of a sudden, so I just agreed with her and offered to drop her off, but she said she'll just drive. After she went that evening, it was just me and the boys. They were just playing on their own, and I was getting a little bored. So then I decided that I could ask Maria's friend's husband, Dean, if he wanted to come over for a pint, as we two were quite good friends. I then proceeded to ring Dean up and I asked him, "While the ladies gossip at your house, you want to come over to mine for a pint?" He just replied, "What do you mean? My wife is at home only with me." It was at that moment my heart dropped. I then asked him if he was just joking. He was being dead serious. I could even hear his wife in the background saying it was only them two at home. I ended the phone and just stood up and thought for a moment. I decided to ring up Maria, but she didn't reply. I rang her 3 more times after that, but she didn't answer. I also texted her about 10 times, asking if she was okay, and she didn't reply. I then put the kids to bed and was considering calling the police until I got a call from Maria saying that she was very, very sorry for making me worry so much. She said over the phone that she meant she was going to see her other friend and said the wrong name by accident, and didn't answer the phone as they went for dinner. I felt really relieved, but told her to keep her phone on. After saying goodnight to her, I went to sleep and kept thinking to myself, at least she's all right. But one thing that kept troubling me was, why was she at dinner for such a long time? I stopped thinking and went to sleep. The next day at around 1 p.m, Maria arrived home and she acted completely normal. I asked her how it was, and all she told me was that she and her friend just relaxed, chatted and had a meal. We then went on as usual for a week until I got home one day, and the postman came to deliver a parcel to our house which was addressed to Maria. She hardly ever orders things, so I waited until she came home to give it to her. She said, "Oh, that must be my new phone." When she said that, my jaw dropped, and I answered, "But you already got a new phone a few months ago, which I got you?" She then said, "Oh yeah, but I wanted a bigger one, so I bought myself a new one." Despite feeling a little down and confused about why she bought a new phone, I let it be. Fast forward 2 days later, she came home from work with a brand new hair curler and hairdryer, which she bought after work, and they were a really expensive brand too. I asked her, "Why are you spending and essentially wasting so much money on things you already have?" Her reply was, "Oh, I never buy myself nice new things, so I thought I would treat myself." This wasn't like her, but I just let it go. Although it was bothering me, bearing in mind her birthday was in 6 weeks, and I could have got her the gifts. Fast forward about another week, and we were just sitting at our dinner table with the boys chatting as usual as we ate, when I saw Maria wearing a brand new spanking clean Pandora bracelet with a few fancy gems on it. I asked her when she got it. She said, "Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you. I bought a new bracelet. Do you like it?" I responded with, "It's lovely, but why are you spending so much money all of a sudden on things which aren't necessary? It's your birthday in just over a month." This clearly bothered her that I was questioning her, and she said to me in a slightly angry voice, "Come on, I never buy myself things, and I just really wanted it. And for my birthday, I don't want any gifts from you. All I want is to spend time with you." After this, we ate in silence as we didn't want to argue in front of the kids. However, that had made me reach a tipping point, and I did have a strange feeling in my head. One Saturday night, Maria said she was going out with her boss, who is a woman, and another colleague, who is also a woman, for a drink at a bar. I spent the next few hours at home with the kids. Here's where things get very interesting. At around 9 p.m, I got a phone call from one of my friends who I hadn't spoken to for a few weeks, so I wondered why he was calling. I picked up the phone, and he told me that he was at a pub and had seen my wife sitting with a man about the same age as me, and that she was dressed up in a very revealing dress, and that he saw Maria and the man kiss a few times. When he said, my heart dropped, and I was silent for a good 10 seconds. I replied, "Excuse me." He said to me, "Mate, I'm being serious. I was walking back from the bathroom and saw them sitting together at a table. I haven't said anything to them. When he said this, I thought he was just making it up, so I asked him to send a picture. But at the same time, I was thinking, how do I know if she really went with her work colleagues? My friend then sent me a picture. It was a bit far away as he didn't want to get caught taking the picture, but I zoomed in on it, and my jaw dropped, and my heart sank. That woman was definitely Maria. She was sitting with another man, and she was wearing such a low-cut dress that almost her entire two breasts were sticking out in the open. I didn't even know she had a dress like that. But that wasn't on my mind. I started shaking and almost tearing up. I asked my friend to tell me the address of the pub they were at, so I ran to the car, leaving the boys at home, and drove for half an hour as fast as possible to the pub. I parked up and my mate was waiting outside for me. We both went in quickly and pointed me towards Maria. I then looked at where he was pointing and completely froze. There she was, my wife of 18 years, sitting there laughing and giggling with a random man. All I could think of at this time in my head was, oh my God, she's cheating on me. She was wearing beautiful makeup. She never looked like that with me. Her new Pandora, red heels, and a dress which certainly gave the world a brilliant view of her very large breasts. Maria was the best-dressed person in the whole bar. I just stood there staring at her. I then walked up to her and rubbed her shoulder. Maria turned and looked at me. Her face went from all happy and smiley to a face of horror. I said, "Maria, what on earth are you doing here? And who is this man?" She stood up and put her hands on my arms and said, "Honey, it's just a work colleague meeting, don't raise your voice." After she said that, I then said, "Wearing a dress like that? Not a chance. You're coming with me." So I picked her bag up and started walking out of the bar with Maria following me as she talked some random gibberish. During this time, the guy she was with was completely silent. We both sat in the car and Maria instantly burst out crying and sobbing. In a calm voice, I said to her, "Now please tell me who that man was, and how long has this been going on between you two?" Still sobbing her eyes out, she replied with, "No, we don't have a relationship and we are not dating. This was our first time meeting." I asked, "Then who was he? And why are you wearing such a sexy dress?" Maria then goes on to tell me that for the past few months, she has been working for a high-class escorting agency and that she quit her job as a pharmacist then too. All those times she has been coming home late, meeting a friend. She was really spending the time with a client. In all the hours during the day I was made to believe she spent at the pharmacy, she was really with clients all that time. She claimed that she just earned so much money from the first week of doing it, that she quit her real job and did escorting full-time. She didn't want to tell me as she knew I wouldn't allow it. This all explains why she was suddenly buying all these relatively expensive items. She told me she got the idea when we watched the film about the escort girl a few months ago, and although it was a fictional character, she felt jealous and that she could be earning so much more. I just couldn't believe what she had been doing all this time because of a stupid film. Then I asked her a big question. "Have you been sleeping with these clients?" She replied with yes, which I wasn't surprised with. She then goes on to say how she wants me to forgive her and that she loves me, and we can fix this, that she'll stop working for the agency and that she won't have sex with every single client. But I had enough. I drove Maria straight to her parents' house and left her there. After this, there was a lot more talking and working things out, and at the end of it all, me and Maria were divorced. Since then, I have looked after the kids, and Maria moved in with her parents. Every weekend, the boys get picked up and spend the weekend with Maria. Ever since, I have been living a happy single life.
Women cheat because they want to screw other guys, and it is usually the shitty ones that they crave. So they cheat, and then come running back with the bastard's child. This guy should be grateful this didn't happen to him. Just like men who will poke their dick into any woman, women will spread their legs to any other men, and not just because of love. They can do it for money. It's the usual cycle. Girls go for the bad boys, then they get used and dumped. They grow up, get smarter, find an easy target, get married, claim unhappy and neglected, cheat with a loser, get pregnant, come running back, say it's your fault, Paternity test gets kicked out. You get divorced. They try to take your shit. They become single moms. Rinse and repeat. You see, women cheat more than men. They just do not get caught. Even if a woman got caught by her husband in a lie or deception, she would never admit it. Why would they? When a man doesn't bother to notice, his wife is gone for long hours at a time, goes on trips without him, has a new spring in her step, and is always doing activities with her work friend. That man deserves to be cheated on. Generally, men do not pay attention to what is happening in their relationship. They are simply too lazy, complacent in the marriage, take their marriage and wife for granted, or they just really do not want to believe their woman would ever have an affair or do anything sneaky. In these modern times, all women are willing to cheat, whether she has been 100% faithful or not. Sometimes they can be in the moment and decide to sleep with a guy they work with or their boss. It's even worse if she meets a celebrity. Nowadays, they do it for money and property that they can inherit after divorce, and this has become a business for them, so be careful. That's all for today on Manhood. Don't forget to smash the like and subscribe buttons, and also click on the notification bell to be the first to know when I drop a new video. If you find value in my videos, you can show your support through PayPal or Cash App. The links are in the description. See you next time. Cheers.